Hello and welcome to Rocket Fuel, your daily update of everything that's happening in the Rocket Pool community. My name is Wack. Today is March 11th and today's episode is going to cover last minute preparation for the Dencun upgrade that's happening in a couple of days. Joe with some updates on the Smartnode stack version 2 and some news about the next steps in the tokenomics work that's been going on. So let's get started.
10, 9, ignition sequence start, 6.
Okay, so we're going to be starting today's episode with talk about the Dencun upgrade. So here in the node operators thread, a whole bunch of people were talking about what it's going to look like, what is going on, etc. And Blue AVM said, are there going to be any releases before, any Rocket Pool releases before Dencun? And Yorick says that MEV boost was not in the last one and it has an update, so there might be one just for that. And then Genix has all the new updates that will appear here in the next few days as well. So here Yorick says there's at least one important one after the Smartnode release, regardless of when it releases, and that's of course the Dencun upgrade itself. He says Lighthouse is working on a fix that should be out by Monday maybe. Prism has a big bug fix in their release client. Lodestar has a release client number 2. Tiku and Bisu just released, and then there's some information about Nethermind as well. Nethermind, Geth, and Nimbus have nothing imminent I'm aware of, but surely they don't want to be left out. So this is like a standard procedure during the Ethereum hard forks, is that people get their release clients ready, in the weeks leading up to the hard fork, but then going into the hard fork itself, in the last few days, they keep getting the releases out, they keep working on them. And that's pretty much what's happening now as well. So Lee says 4 more Smartnode releases in 4 days, and Geth version 1.14.0 very soon as well. But Yorick says, is that coming after Dencun? But it looks like early this week there's some blob things. It should be released before Dencun, and then there's been some checks going on there as well. So basically what's happening is that there's a lot of stuff happening. There's a lot of changes happening, so please be aware over the next 48 hours to make sure you're going to have everything ready for Dencun. The worst thing that could happen is you're not up to date, you fork off the chain on your own, and then any proposals that you start missing attestations right away, you'll start missing proposals as well. So let's not be in that position. Let's make sure that we get up to date. Of course, if there's no Smartnode stack, which I'm fully expecting there will be at least one, if not 2 between now and the hard fork. If there's no new Smartnode stack, then you can follow the guide and update your consensus and execution and MEV boost clients manually. It's really easy. It's just a matter of copying pasting some commands into your terminal user interface, so it's really straightforward. But here there was a lot of updates, like Prism 5.0.1 came out as well. So there's a lot of talk going on about when the Smartnode stack will come. I expect there to be a Smartnode stack on Tuesday, maybe Monday night, Tuesday Australian time potentially, or maybe Tuesday morning, which is late Tuesday night Australian time, somewhere around then. Potentially we could have a Smartnode stack, and that might be the final Smartnode stack. With there being any bugs, then what might happen is they'll ask you to manually update those lines in the command line interface and the terminal user interface, sorry, and then you can do that following the guide as well. It's really straightforward. So yeah, here like I said, like Prism was already out, and we got some news here about Lighthouse as well. So Lighthouse had version 5.1.0, and that's their Bigfoot release, and this is a high priority upgrade. So it means to make sure that everything is going well for Dencun. So get on that as soon as possible. And talking about Dencun, what's something really interesting happening is that Dencun, this is the first time that Gnosis chain will actually be forking the clients before Ethereum mainnet, so it kind of becomes a testnet of sorts. So here Stefan says, for the first time, Ethereum is not the first layer 1 to apply the next hard fork, Dencun. Gnosis chain will do it first, providing a preview of what will happen to Ethereum in 2 days. Incredibly proud of the teams involved, and that includes Nethermind, Aragon, and led by Zoom. And dApp Lion. So Nethermind said we are ready. So it looks like everyone's getting lined up for that, which is really exciting. And then we also had news of the watch party that will be taking place. Of course, you'll want to watch, you want to get the POAP. So here is the Dencun hard fork watch party. So live stream will start at 1 p.m. UTC, which is 9 o'clock and 5 minutes Eastern time. And the hard fork itself will be taking place at 9 o'clock and 55 minutes Eastern time on Wednesday morning. So in just under 48 hours of me recording, just under 2 days of me recording here. So if you are curious about watching along, and of course you got to do it for the POAP, then definitely check out that link. And then ETHStaker as well. They're going to be hosting it with Cat Herders and Nisasano. So they said the blobs are coming, testnets are forked, client releases are out, the blobs are here. Have you updated your node for Dencun on mainnet? We'll be live streaming the fork as usual, along with ETH, Cat Herders, and Anthony Sassano. So definitely go and check that out if you are. If you're going to be watching, I'll be watching, and I presume a lot of people in trading at that time will also be watching. Just for the POAP, not for any other reason. Okay, next we got an update from Joe here. So Joe says, I've entered the final boss fight, which comes in 3 phases. Phase 1, update the Smartnode config to the new version 2 system. This is now with 100% more generics, which makes the template engine read patches' life easier. Phase 2 is migrate the Smartnode to a new shared node manager core repo that both it and Hyperdrive are built upon. Hyperdrive, of course, is the software made by NodeSet. And then phase 3 says merge whatever the latest Smartnode version 1 stuff is into it. This is last time I merged, it was version 1.11.5. It's a bit behind. Then it's done and we can start playing with it. So hopefully we'll be getting that on testnet within the next few weeks. Maybe, I'm not sure. Non-fungible Yoakum says, will Houston be launching with version 1 or with version 2? And he says, yes, this is my intent, is to have version 2 out, at least in beta form, well before Houston hits mainnet. He says there'll be a period where we have to maintain both versions because version 2 is going to need a lot of testing. This is a complete rewrite. Eventually we'll sunset version 1 though, once we're happy with version 2. So here Joe goes on to say, I wanted to have version 2 out before Denver, but then Hyperdrive happened. Hyperdrive, of course, is NodeSet's integration with Rocket Pool, and they basically poached Joe for 1 day a week of work. So he lost his Rocket Pool work by 20% basically, which meant it couldn't get out before Denver. He says it's for the best though, because I ended up making a lot of stuff for Hyperdrive that makes version 2 better. So that's really exciting updates from Joe. And here then he was bemoaning the fact that Gurley is dying. So it's just down to 8% attestations now, even lower 3% attestations, which of course means dying. So that's sad. Okay, so we got that update from Joe. Now we have an update from Val about the tokenomics. So what's happened is there's very little community challenge on the ideas that Val and Samus have put together, so much so that Val is now thinking of moving their proposals into RPIPs and what that might look like. So what he started to do is he started to put together what the tokenomics rework drafts look like. He says there's 7 up right now and he might add 1 or 2 more. He says I tried to be thoughtful about what could be voted in separately. The only hard requirement I put in was burn and universal variable commission going in together, since one needs ETH and the other provides ETH for the purpose of burn. This is obviously, I'm hoping we get consensus on the whole package, but I still value atomic voting. So then basically let's have a look at the document. So here there are RPIP drafts, and these are drafts, right? So the tokenomics info, bond curves. Wait, actually, let me move the screen so you guys can see. Yeah, bond curves, burn, draft forced exits, draft mega pools, draft remove operator gated upgrades, and draft universal variable commission. So these are all drafts. If you are interested in reading them, then definitely follow the links that are in the description. And if you have any questions or any feedback, then get involved in the discussion as well. So here, then Samus had some questions. He said, look like you basically put RPL value capture in draft burn and draft UVC. I think besides that, the only proposals missing would be RETH protection and RPL inflation rework. And it says, also, I noticed you made a node operator starting commission 3% and burn 10% instead of 5% and 8%. Are you thinking to start at 3 and then allow it to be increasable up to 5% for initial variables? And Sam's also said, generally speaking, if we have multiple proposals idea under a given topic, do you think we should have some sort of discussion first and maybe form temp check between those proposals before putting it to an RPIP? Are you thinking we should have a draft RPIP written first in order to have something tangible enough to temp check? And then the idea is like, I do think it's valuable to have a concrete thing, both the community to discuss and support a discussion with the team around timeline. He said it'd be cool to have competing RPIPs ideally as Legos where possible, but regardless, he says right now my jaded guess is that there will be just one proposal with energy behind it to actually flesh out. And sadly, I'm starting to agree with Val here as well. I was hoping that we would have multiple by now, but the fact that we only have one, and of course it seems to have a lot of the community's energy behind it, then I agree with Val here. Anyway, he says, I'm considering an info RPIP that serves at a high level. These are all connected, and these things were not taken up at this time. E.g. RPL inflation is something I have an opinion on, but I don't think it's worth the extra simultaneous RPIP to explain. And then Doofa says, I wish there was a better way to make sure I keep track of a thread. Then the useless comment. Oh, that's besides the point. Anyway, then Val started adding some more stuff as well. He says there's an overview. So this is the MD document. So he says, this info RPIP exists to explain the overall tokenomics proposal. The RPIPs have been split up into, and the reasoning behind includes certain items now versus later, etc. So here is, kind of a header that's giving you the information, and you can go and read the different documents to find out what's going on with those. And then yeah, there was some discussion, so you can go and read that discussion yourselves. And then there's our discussions already started about like what will come now, what will come later, etc. So that's really interesting as well. So Valdo says, let's talk about plausible splits, and what order things could happen in. So like now is the time, if you are working on a competing proposal, then you need to let the community know that you are doing this. Otherwise, people are going to carry on working without you around, and no one wants that to happen. So please let it be known to the community. Otherwise, we're just going to move on, and yeah, you'll have to deal with it basically. Okay, next we're going to talk about the EigenLayer bounty vote. Of course, the one that has been that's been in discussion for the last few days. Well, they have both reached quorum now. So let's have a look at vote number 1, and this is to reject the EigenLayer bounty outright, and this is people are against this. They don't want to reject it. So 80% of people are against rejecting it, and only 16% of people are in favor of rejecting it. And the biggest person in favor of rejecting it is Val. Joe actually voted, which is cool. He says the reason voting for another proposal, I don't want to kill EigenLayer research outright, but want to do it before funding develops. So Joe's kind of splitting his vote as well. And Val is the biggest person voting. Joe is voting against the appeal. Val is the biggest voter voting in favor of the appeal, as in to stop the research. And then with the second vote, this one's actually looking a lot closer. So this one, the number of people against this, so this is to reduce the scope of the EigenLayer bounty. So about 60% of people want to reduce the scope of it, and about 40% of people want to 60% of people voting against the scope of it, and about 40% of people want to limit the scope of the bounty. And here again, this is where Joe has made a difference. He said the reason he's voting for reducing the scope, he says we should fund research first, then fund development later, predicated on what comes out of the research. So this one's a little bit more divided, and as you can tell by the numbers, it's closer. This vote hasn't been decided yet, even though we're over quorum on both of them. There is still discussion, I guess, being had with people about how you should vote on this. And I think there might be some last minute changes. We just need either one big vote to flip, for example, if I flipped from against to for, then that would change the outcome of this. But another couple of big voters coming online would be able to switch this outcome as well. So it's not finished yet. So like I was saying, there's still some confusion about the way the votes should add up and be together. Jasper shared this screenshot of this person voting for on one vote and voting for on the other one, but kind of was mistaken about what the reasoning was, and kind of seems to be voting against what they actually want to be doing. So this is one of those situations where, you know, people still might not be have a full grasp on what the language of the RPIP is saying, and or what the language of the vote is saying. So remember, if you are voting with the PDAO, then you're voting against the GMC's decision, and if you are voting you're voting to stop EigenLayer, then you've got to say for, and if you're voting to carry on with the EigenLayer stuff, then you vote against. So, and there's kind of confusing there. Here Jasper made a post when we hit quorum, and just showing how things are looking, and one vote of course is a lot more one-sided and the other one is a lot closer together, but that's something that I'll be following for you all over the coming days. Okay, next we have this screenshot from Meg here about Lido sharing the STRK airdrop. So here this is Sat Baldwin on the Lido forum and saying update on the STRK token provisions. We're working on it with the STRK Foundation, and users will be able to self-claim on STRK in April. So the idea is basically if Lido are able to get their users claiming their airdrops in April, then maybe there is something for Rocket Pool holders coming in April also. But of course, this is just a speculation, and there's no confirmation here. And there's STETH holders might be getting some tokens there for staking, I guess, with Lido. So if they're making progress, then it looks like there's a chance that we Rocket Poolers might be able to get some tokens as well. Hopefully within the next month or 6 weeks. That would actually be really nice to see that happen. Okay, next we've got news of Ramana's buy party that he was doing over the weekend. A whole lot of people were sharing their transactions, but this one was especially interesting to see. So Core Gamer 90 shared a screenshot where it showed that he bought 121,928 RPL. That is a whole lot of RPL. So that was that raised a lot of eyebrows, and Ramana right away asked for a link saying, is that legit? People were not sure what was going on, but then the right away Ramana said, is that European comma? And then Valdo said, yeah, that would make sense that it's a European comma. And yeah, then Core Gamer came in and said it was 121 RPL, so it was a European comma there. But I think Ramana was getting a bit scared there for a second, because you'd have to buy like 22,000 or 24,000 RPL tokens, which would have been very nice, I think, but sadly it wasn't to be. However, like, you know, Ramana started buying the matching amounts. So here he said, you know, bought the first match, which was $17,500 worth of RPL, and then later we got some information about look, this is where he staked it. So the total amount that he ended up buying was 1,337 RPL, which was then all staked on his validator. So let's go and have a look and see what the final analysis was. So there was a 20% buys, and let's just skip to the end actually. So the total amount that Ramana bought by Rocket Poolers was 66,685, and then the matching buys were at 1,337. Like, I think he just did that to being elite, and then the all up. That means that this buy party resulted in 8,022 RPL being bought, which is actually really nice to see. So thank you, Ramana, and thank you other people who bought RPL during this time. You've done a great service to the community. Shifrin here had an update of the latest grants round closing, and he says that During round 10, the Rocket Pool Grants Committee received 13 applications. So there were 3 grant applications, 10 retroactive award applications as well. So he said that the total amount for grants was $55,000. The total amount for retroactive awards was $150,000. So the total amount was $205,000. And of course, the GMC will be getting $126,000 this period. The RPL price going up has been nice for the GMC. It just means that we have that much more money to give out to the community. But there's been $200,000 worth of grants requested. Well, the main thing that a lot of money will be going on will be actually support grants. So retroactive supports for retroactive grants for work that people didn't support. So Halulo put in an application for himself, and then Patches put in an application for 3 other people. The GMC will be analyzing those. Okay, next we're going to be talking about the deposit pool really quickly. So here we have a screenshot of what the deposit pool looks like right now. So there is 22,000 ETH in the deposit pool. As you all know, the deposit pool is 18,000 ETH in size. So the deposit pool is 4,000 ETH over the limit right now. That means that, there's no rocket arb opportunities. Let me actually see what that looks like, if there's even any premium on the secondary market. I think there might be some premium. Let me check. When I checked, it was like 0.2%. Right now it is at it's still thinking, the bar is still, it's 0.09% basically. So it's not really much of a premium there, but there's something, I guess. But what's happened is, the deposit pool is full, it's overflowing, it's at 22,000 ETH. So that means there's 4,000 ETH more than we want there to be in there. As you can see, the cumulative deposits have kind of flatlined, and we've not had any minting happen recently, and that's been the case since February 20th. There's been no minting happening. So the daily price, I guess, there is, the last one here was on February 20th. So there's been nothing for over 2 weeks, because of course the deposit pool has been full and overflowing at that time, and we basically need some whales to either reduce their bond or to start new validators for this to be possible again. So the RETH is flat in terms of new RETH coming on the market in the last few weeks, and hopefully we'll get some big whales coming online soon to help us with that. Okay, next we have this tweet from Jasper. So he's saying, attention Arbitrum RETH holders, the balance liquidity position for RETH ETH is not safe, and users are strongly encouraged to switch to the new pool. Incentives will be flowing to this new pool that are currently juicy. Please, for your safety, please switch soon. So this is news of the Arbitrum pool for balancer of RETH ETH. If you are using that, please switch as soon as possible to the new pool. If you don't know what the new pool is, please ask someone in trading, and they'll be able to give you point you towards the right direction. But this is something that will need action from you, because it's not safe. I don't know if it's been drained or anything like that so far. I don't think it has. It's just there's a vulnerability that was found. So they're trying to preempt the vulnerability. So definitely go and check that out. Okay, next we have an update from Stake Rocket Pool. Sorry. So here, this is the latest DeFi sheet has been updated, and it's showing that the best place for you to use your RETH right now is on PancakeSwap on mainnet. So PancakeSwap on mainnet is offering 18%, and they're getting RPL rewards and cake rewards, and that's adding, with the price of those tokens going up, it's adding up to really nice rewards for you all. Then there's a screenshot showing there being other rewards for you as well. Like the balancer one here is sticks out, the balancer on base getting up to 12.5%. And then on mainnet as well, there's stuff to do with RPL. You can earn RPL, sorry, and on the PancakeSwap, like we said, there's 18%, but also on Gamma you can get 8.5%, and on other pools you can get different amounts as well. So you can have a look at the whole document, rpldefi.com. and that will give you an idea of what's going on in the whole of the market. Let me actually change the screen so you can see it a little bit more clearly. But yeah, rewards were up to 18% on Pancake. Is looking really good. So definitely keep that in mind if you are interested in getting the best yield for your RETH. Okay, next we had this really cool artwork that was submitted to Dr. Doofus. This was by Rolu, and it says Rocket University is now updated for RPIP 30. So that's rocketpooluniversity.xyz, and then they've got this amazing artwork as well that you can check out. It's like, it looks like people who are studying rockets, and they're on this like utopian planet that looks really cool. Except it looks like they're the only 4 people on the planet. So although there's a bunch of other people on the other little islands as well, so that's really cool. It's beautiful artwork. Like, have a look at it if you haven't seen it yet. And speaking of artwork, we have the merchandise store vote happening now for the artwork. These are t-shirt designs that will end up going on the vote. So here, like, we have I'm a smoothie operator and my node your ETH, and then here we have like a different shirt as well, like Rocket Pool, Stake, Decentralized SOAR, and then we've got like lots of these different designs. I particularly like this ASCII one. It says Rocket Pool with the ASCII logo, which is really cool. Here there's one with the text word art, this coffee design. There's a whole bunch of really nice designs that you can go and have a look at. And I think that, some of these you'll be able to find their way onto a t-shirt quite soon. I also like this one, this word art one with Rocket Pool. It just tells you what it is, all the different ways that people spell Rocket Pool, and all the different attributes that it has going along with it, which is pretty awesome. Okay, next we had this POAP for the strategy session that took place during Denver liftoff. So Shifting saying who was there. So it has the strengths, weaknesses, threats, and opportunities sections that we talked about during the session, and Shifrin started to distribute this POAP for the people who had attended. So Snow attended, and then Jasper came. I was there. Samus was there. We also had Sneaky Ninja Guy there. Fornax was there. Ramana was there. Rocknet was there as well. So this POAP has now been distributed. So it says on March 2nd, 2024, the Rocket Pool community convened in a strategic session as part of the Denver Liftoff event. Over the course of 3 hours, more than 40 members actively engaged in the workshop, analyzing the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats inherent in the Rocket Pool protocol. This exclusive POAP was bestowed upon all in-person attendees of this pivotal event, and so far 13 POAPs have been claimed, and I guess as people identify themselves, they'll be eligible for more POAPs going forward there. Okay, next we've got some sad news coming out of the ETH ETF cycle, and this was basically there being more growing bearishness about the ETF happening. So here, Jake Chavinsky, he is a crypto lawyer in Washington, and he says, it brings me no joy to be an ETH ETF bear. I've been working on Ethereum in one sense or another for 5 years, and I want the ETF to be approved. It should be, but I'm calling it like I see it, and I see that the SEC dislikes crypto, seeks to please progressive elective officials who are against crypto, has a wrong but not insane basis for denial, which is the spot futures correlation, could come up with new grounds for denial that weren't tested by Grayscale in court, which likely also be subject to a court challenge. It may be easier for the SEC to justify. It says the SEC is unwilling to take litigation risk and lose in court based on preference for being viewed as fighters in the war against crypto rather than being accused of rolling over. So they're willing to take litigation risk, and as of now appears to be making little effort to work on the details necessary for approving and listing, instead seeming to focus on diligence, i.e. correlation, perhaps to build up its basis for denial. So here, there's people kind of talking about it, and Eric Balkunis today as well had updated odds for the acceptance of the ETH ETF, and he was saying that it's now down to around 35%. Let me see if I can find that tweet. I can't find that tweet, but he was saying that the odds are around 35% here. He says our odds of ETH approval by May deadline are down to 35%. I get all the reasons they should approve it, and we personally believe they should, but all the sign sources that we're making is bullish 2.5 months out for the BTC spot are not there this time. note 35% isn't 0%, it's still possible. On long term, we think it will happen. And then we got this from Steve. He said 73 days before the ETH spot was approved, the sentiment around BTC approval discussions were, how the ETFs were going to be seeded. Different groups were submitting their 19B4 amendments, and even the tickers that they were going to use on the exchanges were being kind of leaked. So we've had none of that. So no leaks, no seeds. ETH keeps cards close. And here the ICOB says, in my opinion, there's still plenty of good reason the poly market have May approval at 36%. It's 36%. Probably many delays. Gensler's final stand. Third gates open after 24 election, and Gensler gets replaced. So there were just some ideas about when it might get approved. And then some, while we got that bad news, there's still some hope. So here, the London Stock Exchange, which is a stock market in the United Kingdom, says that LSE to accept applications for Bitcoin and Ethereum exchange traded notes, which is like the British version of ETFs. And it says that that is going to be, they're hoping for that to happen. So while it's nowhere near, the scale of the US funds, the fact that there might be like this other chances abroad might take some money from the US and put it in these other places. And I think there was news that it was going to happen in Singapore as well. So that's definitely something to keep an eye on for that. Okay, next we got this update over the weekend where the mainnet participation dropped about 6%, and it looked like there was some really big validator that was offline, and there was no finality issues. So it says, my non-finality alerts didn't trigger, so it's all Gucci. It says it looks like it's part of the Coinbase fleet. So that looks like it was an issue with Coinbase. I'm sorry, I didn't follow this story to find out who actually was at fault for this. But 6% of the network went down. So it might have just been. Nixo here as well says it looks like a bunch of them are labeled Coinbase to me, but not the majority. I wonder if this might help us identifying unidentified Coinbase validators if it's a Coinbase only event. And then there was a person from Coinbase as well said that they're looking at it and trying to find out what's going on. So this says it's probably just Coinbase then. So maybe this will be an opportunity for us to tag some more Coinbase wallets as theirs. And then there was just some more discussion here as well about the validators being down basically and what that might look like. But he says it said it didn't look like it was a client bug, because otherwise a lot of Rocket Pool people would have been support asking for help about what to do with their validators being down. Okay, next we got some news from EigenLayer here. So Quantum Thoughts went to the EigenLayer Discord, and basically they said that that someone from EigenLayer said, we're not planning any airdrops, and we let the AVSs do what they want once they launch. And Quantum Thought said, shouldn't the answer be more like we can't confirm or deny an airdrop? He says it seems kind of risky to be publicly committing to no airdrop. And Alex says that's the official info. There's no plan for an airdrop, and there won't be any airdrop. So I think this is just like the regulatory games that protocols play in order to try to skirt any SEC kind of related issues. I'm 100% sure that there will be an airdrop for EigenLayer, and it'll probably be coming within the next 3 to 6 months at the very most. I don't think you should believe them in this instance. We had a bunch of cases of people saying that there will be no airdrop and then actually getting airdrops. In fact, so much so that I actually saw a report of someone saying that even Base would likely have an airdrop as the Coinbase, the parent company, kind of puts them under some new company that divides out regulatory risk, and then they could probably have an airdrop as well. And then the final story of today is Patches is good news. So he says another day, another niece, starting to feel like Emsworth. So Patches, of course, a few months ago announced that he was an uncle, and since then, he started being called Uncle Patches in trading. He changed his name, but now he's double uncle. So we knew this was coming, and it's really great that everything worked out well with that. So congratulations to Patches for being an uncle for the second time. And that's all that I have today for Rocket Fuel. Thank you all for listening, watching, and being part of the Rocket Fuel community. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm a tiny bit sick. Well, quite a few bit sick. But hopefully it's not messed up with your viewing experience. But hopefully I'll be well enough to record again tomorrow. But thank you all for watching, like I said, and we'll see you tomorrow. I hope you all had a lovely week.